Assembly to order. Please rise to the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. I love that last one.
Can I get approval of the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passed. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting and executive session of Monday, April 17th, 2023, and the public meeting of Wednesday, April 26th, 2023.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Okay.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Any nominations for recognition?
One, I'd like to recognize Frida's house for bringing their new business into town.
Yeah.
Another empty building, hopefully filled.
I just ate there today.
Mm-hmm.
I ate there
That was good.
Sunday.
Really? They're all
Really good.
Yeah, Sunday I ate there.
Yeah.
So,
What time?
11:30.
All right, any other nominations?
Have we ever nominated the Bent's Rockets for anything? Or Jeremy Diedick?
Ooh, that's a good one. Lord, that bench spot.
He recently sent me a link for a podcast that was on Spotify, and Jeremy and Caleb with Bent's Rockets, they really did a great job of putting out Newcastle to the rest of the state for the expansive trail systems and that we have here that they've been working on.
And that's like a YouTube type thing or
It was on Spotify.
Spotify?
Yeah.
Cool.
They were, I don't know how big of an audience it gets out to, but it was really neat.
Isn't that the one that they got a group coming this summer?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've got several races going to come this summer.
Well, there's a bike
No, I mean
thing.
just that.
There's a bike thing coming that
Oh, that's not the
Teresa
same
Gross
thing.
told us about, and that's
Right.
something different.
Okay.
Any other nominations? Okay, certificates of recognitions, none. Citizens business in writing, Weston County Children's Center seasonal sewer forgiveness. Dare City Council, we are once again requesting consideration for the summer sewer averaging for the Weston County Children's Center. The Children's Center maintains a very large playground and front lawn area as well as landscaping along the street. As a result, we use more water in the summer months, keeping these areas irrigated, green, and attractive. We respectfully request your consideration for adjustment to our sewer rates for the period of May to October. Your consideration is greatly appreciated. Very sincerely, Francie Gregory, Executive Director.
I move we do that.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Water forgiveness, right? The second on citizens business in writing is Church on the Hill, release of easement. It says, "Dear ladies and gentlemen, the Church on the Hill of Newcastle, Wyoming respectfully request that the city of Newcastle formally abandon their right to a utility easement on the north side of the church's property at 301 Delaware Avenue. The easement is located within what was formerly a street easement named Lee Street, which was never developed or improved and later abandoned to First Christian Church property. Upon a merger and name change, the property in question is now under the ownership of Church on the Hill. It is our understanding that our city has never installed any utilities on this easement, nor presently has any plans to do so. Consequently, Church on the Hill requests that you abandon the easement rights along the north side of such property in order that we might be free to make such improvements or alterations as are legal and we see fit. Thank you for your consideration of our request and your timely reply. Sincerely, Wayne Wilson, Pastor. I know that we had Greg look into it, and there is no utilities there.
Currently, there's no utilities.
Yeah.
And to put in utilities in that area would be, let's say, more than difficult with the slopes and stuff like that we're dealing with. It would actually be cheaper to go up to the road to the current York Street where we already have utilities going across. I see no real benefit to having a utility easement across that section of ground, considering the greens that anybody would be dealing with. My recommendation was to go ahead and abandon the easement along with the road right away we've already vacated. So,
I make a motion that we abandon the utility easement that used to be known as Lee Street for the people of the church on the hill.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion?
What's entailed with,
With releasing it, would that be you, Douglas?
yeah,
It would just be drafting. I'd have to get the, is there a survey with it? By chance, I suspect not, right?
Yes, they had Fair Lodge Engineering do a survey.
Okay. If I can get that survey, then I can just attach it with a release of easement and it can be filed in the courthouse.
that's all that's entailed with giving up an easement. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, that is granted, and we'll get that, see if we can get that survey for you. Okay, citizens business verbal. Don't have any. Mayor, council member reports, historical preservation month proclamation. Proclamation Historical Preservation Month, whereas local historic preservation is an effective tool for revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability, and whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspect of the heritage that has shaped us as a people. Now therefore, I, Pam Gualtieri, Mayor of the City of Newcastle, Wyoming, do hereby proclaim May 2023 as National Preservation Month, and call upon the people of Newcastle, Wyoming to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing the participation in this special observance. In witness wherefore I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Newcastle, Wyoming to be affixed this first day of May 2023.
Can I say something kind of right here?
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of brings up with the wall on Main Street, or something. Lucille Dumbro said that when we get ready to, if we own that, and if we get ready to, she can definitely think she can help us with the historic preservation.
That's one of the important things for myself with the wall is preserving that heritage.
Right. And she said that she was sure that she could get a grant or something for
Yeah,
us.
the big deal with that one is it's the amount of ownership. If the
Right, and
landowner
and the city has
The
to
city,
own it for
yes.
them to be able to help us.
Yes, we
Right.
cannot rebuild a retaining wall without ownership of the property that it sits on. So.
Right. I just wanted to tell you that. She just told me that just last week.
Lisa?
Okay, sorry, I forgot to call you. Okay, we have the chief on speaker.
We're about done.
Yeah. Okay, ambulance district.
No, tree board resignation.
Oh, sorry, tree board resignation. Do you have that or do I have that?
I don't know.
Travis
Oh,
Peters.
I see. Okay,
Oh,
mayor
there.
and governing body of the city of Newcastle, Wyoming. It has recently been brought to my attention that my appointment to the city's tree advisory board and my responsibility as sitting chairman of this board may create an opportunity for the perception of a conflict of interest with some of my assigned duties as the municipal arborist employed by the city of Newcastle. The personal and professional risk of inadvertently precipitating a violation of either Section 8 of the City of Newcastle Personnel Policies and Procedures and/or the Code of Ethics Agreement that I am bound by as an ISA certified arborist is a potential liability that I am unwilling to accept. Therefore, it is with thoughtful consideration and with regret that I inform you of my decision to resign both my position as sitting the chairman of Newcastle Tree Advisory Board as well as my seat as a voting member. This resignation is to be in effect upon your receipt and acceptance of this letter. I would like to thank the City Council and my fellow board members for having given me the opportunity to serve our community as a volunteer member of this board. It has been an honor and a privilege to be part of this group since 2003. And moving forward, I hope to continue to contribute in an equally meaningful and constructive way to the important work this group does for our town in a professional capacity as the city arborist, as an advisor to the advisors, and as a servant of the public interest. Sincerely, Travis Peters.
I move that we accept Travis's resignation from the tree advisory board.
With regret.
With regret.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, and I was just kind of blown away that Travis was gonna step down, but he explained his reasoning, so it made sense. And then we still get to see him because he's gonna come and give us the skinny on what's going on with the trees. So
Yeah, he can still work in an advisory capacity.
just not an
It's not-
official capacity.
Yeah, not an official capacity.
So are they gonna advertise that seat or how do it work since we have the other groups?
Well, he's on that, I know.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like we should advertise it so that we can try to get some public interest and see if somebody wants
We
to
need
fill
to stay
vacancies.
consistent with these.
so will you guys be writing that or?
I'm not sure how that works, Mayor. I don't know.
We didn't run an ads for the planning zone, they did it on their own.
Yeah, Becky did.
Okay, well, I'll go back and talk to the tree advisory committee about it.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Number 3, ambulance district. It was brought up at the special meeting with the ambulance about possibly going ambulance district. I don't know too much about it, besides that it would have to be something that the county goes with, or motions or votes for, and it would have to go on a ballot for 1 cent mill levy that the voters would either vote yes or no for. So is this, I guess my question is this something that we want to ask the commissioners to consider, or do we want to keep it where it's in our budget?
I think it's best to do a district because then the whole county pays for the service and it's not a one-sided pay for the services city's paying for now. Every county resident would pay that mill levy for, just like they do the fire district. Your Honor, I move that the city pursue a EMS district for the Western County along with the commissioners and the city of Upton, whomever we have to contact.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, I will, send an email, or can you send an email, let them know? Yeah, okay, so Stacy will send an email, you can copy something to me. That'd be great. Okay, number 4, city cleanup.
That's me, I asked to be put on the agenda. I just feel that we need to, it's spring, it's ready, everybody's ready to kind of clean their yards, get after it. Tom and I have talked about different things, we haven't talked extensively here, but I think we need to, I don't know, maybe make a contest or something. I know last year it was said many times that Newcastle was the dirtiest they have seen it in a long, long time. And I don't want to be on the city council with that kind of a reputation. So if we could, I don't know what we can do. I would be, this has got to come from you, Greg, or you, Stacy, on, because I know Greg James didn't think that was I think we should have a free dump day, or we don't do that.
So, one thing I've thought about for a while,
But we have to do it now because it's spring.
with the water bill, allow a free dump during a certain week so everybody can haul their stuff up. The problem we see around town was with the roll-offs, with the pickups we used to do. People begin hoarding stuff in their backyard until the free dump comes around.
Well,
We've
and
seen piles and piles of junk in empty lots. And when we did the roll-offs here a few years ago, guess where those roll-offs got dumped? Right in front of that empty lot, and all that stuff ended up in the roll-off. And everybody would take all their stuff and dump in that empty lot again for the next year. Instead of hauling it off during the year, they would actually hoard the stuff until they got it taken care of free. That's my only downside to it. I think if we wanted to do a free dump day for the city residents, bring your water bill like we used to, they could get one free dump into the landfill during a scheduled time, like in the spring, and then one once in the fall, maybe. I don't know how the council wants to do that.
I don't know.
But it would free us up from having to haul it.
Then putting dumpsters out.
The
Yeah,
dumpsters,
because
the dumpsters, it was all overtime, is the problem. You're looking at between 6 and 7 hours worth of work for 1 to 2 people, all overtime. Haul them out there, drop them off, bring them back, and then deal with them on Monday. So you're looking at an expense there.
Now, there are people, and there are people that don't have the way to take it to the dump.
Yeah,
I mean, there are.
The problem is it ties up resources.
I understand, but
That's the only difficult part about it.
you drive in this town and there is not a street, there is not a street
Yeah.
that is good.
If we do that, they should be able to get a hold of someone to do that, as long as they've got their water bill to be able to prove that they do it. They're having somebody to do that for them.
Pick
They
it
don't
up
have the
for them.
ability, instead of having to roll off, because I've seen it down off of Bonnie Gray when it was doing it there, and it was almost anybody and everybody, they seen a roll off and they just started putting stuff in it.
Well, and I mean, I agree with that, but I mean, that's even better than it
Yes.
going up their yard.
I agree, that just over, you can see it in the past 15 years.
Yes,
Used to be, you got one free dump
Right.
with your
Right.
water bill a month
uh-huh,
to kind of help clean up
right,
the town.
Right.
And we've gotten away with it mainly because, all of these are enterprise services and they're supposed to pay for themselves. But then we lose the ability to do a cleanup, and I just happened to see just a couple of days ago in Rapid City was part of this same thing. They take free dumping to clean up the town. in a certain time frame. You know, it's not, let's go back to once a month, it's, we got this time frame, maybe the month of June. That you bring your water bill in for the month of June to do a cleanup.
To me, the water bill makes sense because
Then you know.
That
it's
it's
a
city.
the people that are paying
There's
for the
accountability.
subsidized
Right,
services
Right,
are the ones actually paying the water.
and I agree with
So-
that, but I don't know, we've even talked about like having neighborhoods kind of do a little contest or something and see if we can, but I just think we should really, as a council or whatever, there's no pride anymore, and we just have got to clean up. What we
I
can.
like the water bill idea. I don't know how you wanna put that together.
It's up to the council's pleasure as far as when. As far as having the water bill, we can go back to what we did when we did allow one free dump a month with the water bill. It's just a
punch
matter,
it, they
yeah,
just
they
punch
just
it.
punched the water bill, and then they couldn't use that water bill. So, there's some stuff that happens with that it becomes extreme. We actually had one guy come in with a tandem axle dump truck, loaded up, heaped up. He had about 70,000 pounds worth of junk. He was hauling into the landfill for free. You know, there's some of that stuff that we'll just have to discretionarily curb as much as we can.
But we need to put an ad in the paper. We need to advertise that this is what we're doing and that we are doing it to clean our
I mean,
town.
to me, doing it once for June and then once in September with hazardous waste day cleanup would probably be, would probably help out some. But
And they can get ready, if they know, I mean, if we're doing it in June, then they have that much time to.
And
plan.
put that in the form of a motion.
Can you,
I move. What?
I was gonna say, can you put, like, let us know exactly what you absolutely don't want on that day?
yeah, tandem axle dump trucks and 20-foot trailers heaped up to the gills.
Okay,
No, we can keep it to, we can put in the ad, a pickup truck load.
yeah.
No bigger than.
I mean, if the
Anyway.
load exceeds 20,000 pounds, you're over a pickup.
Right.
So we could look at, the weight of the vehicle and kind of set it that way if you want.
And I think it'd be good, that now that we have the scale there, we never had the scale in the past when we did those. We'll know what weights and everything we're actually bringing into the dump on that free month, whatever it's gonna be using the water.
But I just think it's our duty to kind of, we need to take pride in our own town, being a councilman too. So I move that we have one free dump in June and one free dump in September. And that there will be an ad.
For city residents.
For city.
For people who can produce
Right.
I'll let her go.
water.
Thank
I
you.
second that.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passed. Citizens business, council reports, we have number 5, Melissa Stubbs' retirement letter. It says, to Mayor Gualtieri, Chief Bowles, Newcastle City Council, dated April 17, 2023. Please be advised that on May 1st, 2023, I will be celebrating 29 years with the Newcastle Police Department. I have worked with many chiefs, both Newcastle and Upton, sheriffs, and countless employees throughout all departments and support agencies. At this time, I would like to announce my retirement to take effect on July 1st, 2023. My last working day will be May 27th, 2023, and then I will take vacation through July 1st, 2023. I can't begin to explain my thoughts and feelings right now, but want you to know that this has been very exciting and fulfilling career for me. Thank you, respectfully, Melissa Stubbs. 29 years.
I don't think we should accept it.
You should go one more year, maybe.
Make a motion that we accept Melissa Stubbs' retirement letter with regret. It's, she's put in a lot of years for the city, and I know
Second.
worked a lot with her in that position.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, and we do something more for an employee of 29 years, can't we? I don't know, guys, this lady is terrific. I went and worked with her for a few afternoons and evenings, and it's amazing what she's done with the city and the police department. And I'd like to see that we did something, some sort of a retirement something. And I'm just throwing it out there, with it. I don't know, what do you think?
What did we do for Tammy? Chief Bowles, do you have ideas?
I was gonna get her, have her, a plaque and throw a party for her.
Party? Yeah.
And can't come to it, but,
Are you inviting the council?
More
Well,
pictures.
that's
that's what
enough.
I was thinking of right now, but if you guys have more ideas,
I got an idea.
we can entertain those.
Something we tossed around a little bit, we've had the wintertime kind of a party. We've kind of tossed a little bit about summertime picnic type deal in Dow Park or something with all the employees. I think this would be a perfect example. I'd be willing to cook, some afternoon, evening get together at Dow Park to employees and to honor Melissa Stubbs' retirement.
That'd be great. I think we should.
Let's work on
Good.
it.
Sounds good.
Moving on to old business, Kennedy annexation ordinance number 1, series 2023.
Did we vote on the motion and the second on the retirement?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. I don't want to lose Melissa, but, okay, old business, Kennedy annexation, ordinance number 1, series 2023, which heading reads, an ordinance annexing territory described in the petition for annexation dated January 18, 2023. This is the third and final reading.
I move that we accept the third and final reading of the Canada annexation ordinance number 1, series 2023.
Second.
Ooh, motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passed. Moving on to department head reports, City Attorney Devlin Hughes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you all know, Chief Bowles and I had the dispatch meeting. And I think that a lot of ground was covered. There were some things that obviously needed to be clarified, and there still are things that need to be clarified. So I've sent out the rough draft of the proposal that the county has. This obviously is a tentative one, it's a rough draft. I think during that meeting, basically what had been discussed was they would be agreeable to moving into the new dispatch center. But they were also at least leaning toward having a joint powers board. At least something looking or resembling what this document proposes. So I think the first thing, I need to pick the council's brain on this because we have the negotiations again, I believe that's Friday of this week. with county attorneys and the city of Upton. And just a little direction in terms of what we would like to do, what we would not like to do, moving forward.
Have you read this week's, the latest Weston County Gazette about the dispatch service?
I haven't.
The county commissioners, I think, are kind of leaning towards doing it themselves.
So,
Again.
Unless that's an older article, I read
it was
today.
this week or last week?
I don't remember.
Well, at their last meeting, they held it in Upton. And, they talked about the proposal that we had about having the 5 board members, like an advisory board. And, paying half for the equipment and having it over in our facility. And, that is what I think they might be talking about in the paper. But I didn't read the article, so I'm not 100% sure.
And it might have been an old one.
Yeah. I know that they don't think that, we're compromising, I think is what I heard, when I was listening. Chief Bowles, did you watch that?
I did not watch that yet.
But that was the.
Does anyone have a copy of that with them? Okay. I'll be able to find it. But the negotiations, that's what was basically, that's what I felt was.
Where is it right, I mean, as far as you know, where is it right now? Is it because of the Joint Powers Board? If you're saying that they're willing to move here, that's what you're saying.
So, just to be clear, the sheriff was there, a few sheriffs were there, deputies and the sheriff, and the county attorneys were there, and the chief of Upton was there. My feeling is that they were moving towards the Joint Powers Board as being the option. That's what they were offering. And we discussed that at length of what that would look like. We didn't discuss numbers because, of course, as we all know, I don't do numbers well. But I mean, the percentages, how that would pay out, everything else, I would have to discuss that with Stacy, obviously, because we would need to get a raw figure on what that actually is. But that's what I thought they were basically offering. The article sounds like a big change in terms of what I heard from on that negotiation day.
You can watch their meeting. You can watch their meeting as well. The problem I have is, the Joint Powers Board can't answer any questions because they're not home. So we don't know what pay is gonna be, what benefits are gonna be. And I think if we have an advisory board of 5, they can start that process. Because it will take a while before it's, a Joint Powers Board is approved by the state.
Well, the contract says that they will be paid in accordance with what they're already being paid by the county and or the city. So that, I mean, there is a guideline in the contract.
Yeah, but we don't have a say.
Yeah.
So the thing with this is that the Joint Powers Board, the Attorney Generals of the state actually do this they do it fairly quickly. Now, the advisory board idea, I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea in terms of, say, that we implement that and then go to, say, the Joint Powers Board or some other avenue. But the Joint Powers Board, basically what that ends up doing is those percentages and everything else would have to be agreed upon well before we ever submit this to the Attorney Generals.
So I think that advisory board
To start, but I think even if they know we're working toward that or are willing to go that way, instead of just being obstinate about it. I just want this, I want it to go forward. I want us to move in a direction that it's gonna be done. And if they're willing to come to this building, and we're gonna pay for equipment,
I don't think so. I think this contract says that that money is all part of the startup.
Let's see what the Chief Bowles, what are your thoughts on that?
So I think that we can get to somewhat of an agreement in our meeting Friday, and we'll probably have some more meetings after that, but get to an agreement where we have all of the benefits and stuff lined out before we start pushing forward with a joint powers board.
But they know we can go that way.
What's that?
If it's my understanding, we're capable of operating a dispatch in our new building, but we're trying to make concessions with the county so that we can utilize their equipment that they just purchased to make it so that we don't have to have 2 dispatches. Because the public has been very clear that they don't want 2 dispatches in our county. So that's my understanding, Chief, is that we're just trying to, make concessions with the county so that they have something to do with their equipment so they don't have to staff their own dispatch. But we're fully capable of moving to our new building as is.
Yes.
Thank you.
I do want to add, Kelly from Upton had emailed me after you guys' meeting to ask about how the health insurance could possibly work. WEBT did say that that Joint Powers Board could still be covered under the WEBT insurance. They would have to, of course, leave our employment and go to employment with the Joint Powers Board.
I have a question for you, Mr. Hughes. In your contract, you cut out the property that the Joint Powers Board would actually own the property. Were you speaking just of the equipment, or do you mean the building itself?
Are you talking about this, Councilman?
Yes.
So this is the draft that the county
Yes.
proposed. In terms of the property, at least my understanding of it is that when you create a joint powers board, what happens is under the agreement, a budget is basically allocated from however many entities. They throw in based on what the projection of their need is for each entity. In terms of property, what that would say is that the property would then go under the ownership of the entity being the Joint Powers Board. Now, just to clarify so that it's not, we're just deeding over the dispatch building or anything else. If this were to dissolve, everything that everyone owns in the Joint Powers Board goes back to the respective entities as they were prior.
Okay.
Now there's a establishment of a board in the Joint Powers Board. I believe there's 9 in this case. I think it's 3 from each entity.
Now, can we object to that? Because Newcastle has more people.
No, that's just how they raise that.
And I think that we're gonna have the biggest part of this bill. We should have more representation on the board. This is my personal opinion.
See, and that's where it starts to become too many chiefs and not enough Indians. And I think that advisory board needs to be the 2 chiefs and the sheriff, and then 2 appointed, and those 2 appointed are interviewed by members of Upton's council, our council, and the commissioners.
That's fine.
So I guess we can get we can look over this stuff and then get a recap at the next meeting after you guys have this meeting.
Yes, just in terms of, I guess, what we're proposing here, are we proposing an advisory board in the interim until we want to solidify the Joint Powers Board, or are we proposing exclusively an advisory board?
I think the advisory board and then,
getting to the joint powers
yeah,
board.
but we'd really like to know how that joint powers board is gonna be broken down, so we have at least an idea of cost.
What I understand in the past meetings, we've said that the joint powers board has not been off the table, and really in the past years, this is where everyone wants to see this go.
Okay, the meetings that Dublin is going to now, isn't that what you're already talking about? And
Well,
why-
there's not two appointed members then.
No, but I mean, but we have a group getting together to try to decide what we're gonna do about a joint powers board. And why can't they just take his contract and just go line item and try to come up with an agreement in it?
Well, we can. The problem that I had was I wasn't comfortable going into, say, having a discussion with the county attorneys in the city of Upton where I'm exclusively talking about a joint powers board without being authorized to do so. Because I didn't know if the council had wanted that specifically, or if that was on the table, or if it was off the table. So that's a clarification in and of itself.
A joint powers board isn't something that's gonna happen overnight.
Right.
Mhm.
So it seems prudent to have the joint powers committee or advisory committee in the interim while arrangements are made for a process that could take half a year, whatever it takes to form a joint powers board, which is essentially a special district, isn't it?
It's a new legal entity in a way, but in other ways not so much. But I think that's the direction that the county was wanting to go into, and I think Upton is. I think they're basically going to.
Go any way that the county goes.
Well, if you look at page 2, they want nine board members, and it's 3, 3, and 3. That's where I start to have issues. And so I like the 5.
We're not gonna
I
hash
think we're
this
still
out
in
tonight.
we're still in negotiations, and getting all those fine details worked out before we actually come to the council, we come to the commission and present what we have crafted. So a lot of those details are gonna be worked out with the meetings that are coming up.
Okay.
Well, I think we should move that Dublin is authorized by this board to talk about joint powers boards, and then give him, before he goes to his meeting on this next meeting, that we give him what we'd like him to talk about. Number one is the mayor's objection, and mine too, that everybody gets 3 members. I don't think that we're equal with Upton or the county. I think we should have more members. But I think, I move that we do that, to authorize Dublin Hughes, our attorney, to attend these meetings with complete power to negotiate for a joint powers board. I'll second, okay.
I second that because, that's where we're really wanting to get to is whether advisory board at the beginning to get this started. And like I said, it's gonna take time to get this all put in place and the Attorney General to accept it. So the advisory board is a stepping stone to the joint powers board.
Okay. So we have a motion and second. Any further discussion?
Well, I would just like to say, and this is nothing against you, Mayor, the advisory board is kind of in existence already. I mean, we've got the chief, we've got Mr. Dublin, the county's got people, Upton sending people. We've got kind of a board there. So let's let them negotiate a joint powers thing and see what they come up with.
Is that what's hanging you up? Dublin, you needed to be authorized to be able to discuss a joint powers board?
I knew that I didn't have authorization for the joint powers board, just from what I'd heard, and there wasn't, something solid that had come from the council as to, I didn't want to sit there and go through an entire joint powers board agreement, come back and the council says, we never wanted to do this.
Yeah,
So,
no way.
And that's just covering bases. But basically, yes. The one thing that was proposed was that once, we have these negotiations are solidified, we'd give a proposal that I'm comfortable with, that the chief's comfortable with, that the county and all their officers are comfortable with, and that Upton's comfortable with, to all of the entities involved.
Right.
So,
So this seems like it would be a good precursor to getting the ball rolling, because everybody wants to see this brought to resolution. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Chief, did you have anything else you wanted to discuss?
I don't believe so. I think we can get a lot of those things worked out in our meetings, and we can bring back to everybody good agreement with all the parties involved in the meetings in agreement.
So we'll get more updated on the 15th, if you can put that on the agenda.
Your next meeting's on the 15th?
Ours.
Oh, ours.
Yeah.
We meet the morning of Friday.
Okay, can I say one thing I wanted to discuss with the council? The $786,000 that the county has spent on equipment and or such that was a windfall. And I would like to see it put into the Joint Powers Board as part of the property already. And I don't want to see us having to pay any money towards them for anything. It's just money to go to the Joint Powers Board, period, because it's a windfall. Does the council agree with me on that point? I don't think we should be offering them half of any money that they got from Mr. Biden.
It was a grant process, the county didn't, what I understand, did not have money put into it, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
it was
all
ARPA funds.
ARPA funds. So really, if we gave them half the money, they'd actually come out pretty good.
Yeah,
Like
they come out in the red. Or the black, or the orange,
That'd be black.
It'd be black.
or the orange.
All right, anything else?
That's
Treasurer Stacy Haggard.
So I did send an email out to Jen Womack. She had been out of town, and so I haven't received a proposal back from her on the website design as of yet. And I also talked to Scott Thompson, a Public Works employee that has also done websites in the past. And he was gonna put something together as well. I have not received that back yet, so I will have that on the agenda for next meeting as well. And then I emailed you guys out an email forwarded from Bob Bonner regarding the 50 Plus campaign. If anybody has any thoughts or questions on that.
And I read through the stuff that he put together, and it's an avenue that, several avenues that basically can get the information out to the public, All the times are changing. We know that paper, that people aren't really reading much paper. It's all going some type of social media type avenues. In order to get to that levels of changing pieces of this, we have to seek out those other avenues. And this gives those kind of opportunities for that. So I think we need to really look into this for, getting stuff to our constituents.
Well, I think that using their website is a good thing, but I'd like to say that number one, we should really be pumping money into our own website and getting somebody managing it and getting it up, rolling and going, and but this would be $5,200 a week, $5,200, might go better towards our site rather than Mr. Bonner's.
I believe it would be our site.
Right.
It would?
Yes.
This is not, I mean, this would be obviously separate from the website proposal for last meeting.
I didn't realize it was on.
Basically, what I gathered from that is he's just marketing all the information that's coming from the city and then putting it into all of his platforms.
Right.
And then that would cost us $5,200 a year.
And it's not our website.
Or a
it's
flat 5,000. So that way we don't run into any of our shortfalls with public notice and the sunshine laws.
Is it including what
But then we just got out of a budget meeting and that's another $5,000 that we can spend.
That we won't have.
Well, we're still are waiting for the others, to put in their proposals as well, so. On the 15th?
Yeah, and this is separate, this is not website, that's just a separate campaign, so.
The website is, this one. You got, I think, last night, so. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Oh, actually, we did get another application, so now we have two for that city planner. So I don't know if the personnel committee wants to, I don't know, did we get a deadline on that? If the personnel committee wants to get together or to review and see if we want to interview those candidates.
Madam Mayor, in light of our recent budget meeting,
It's in the budget.
it is.
Yeah.
Salaries are.
How much is it?
The salaries are in the budget already.
Okay. By how much, how many dollars?
I went on the high side of 72,000.
And then we only lose 26,000 with that.
Public advisor for Easton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Few things. First of all, the synthetic organic compound notice violation sampling. We have met the requirements. Waiting to hear back if EPA has any other requirements for us to meet. I sent everything back to Rural Manager last Friday. After being at the Rural Water Conference last week, visiting with Region 8 EPA rural managers, they're looking at cybersecurity and requiring us to do cybersecurity. It came out that this was going to be done during the sanitary surveys. Speaking with the EPA, they said it's not going to happen this year. Wait until they give us more guidance before we start planning to do something with that.
Now, who is requiring the cybersecurity?
EPA, US EPA. So, another one is the lead and copper rule revisions. I was already planning on, since we have to do our lead and copper rule sampling this month or this year, I was planning on making changes to our site sampling plan, which we're going to hold off per rural manager for EPA saying, wait till next year. We'll have better guidance for you next year on changing your site sampling plans. With that being said, we do have to do our lead and copper rule sampling, so we will be contacting the people we've used in the past on our site sampling plan to get that started. We're starting to finalize the Cell B lagoon cleaning. We should have that polished or finished up, hopefully by the end of June. The cemetery expansion is moving forward, sort of. We had a bit of a hitch in things. We found out when they laid out the cemetery, the new expansion, locate pins, or the property pins. We were a foot short on one side, on all of them. So we had to pull all the pins and we'll have to redo the entire street. So it's not quite a setback. It actually helps us out to lay the sod first and then put the pins in afterwards. I did speak with the engineer and we're gonna work together on it. So, other than that, I did put a report on our work orders from our ActiveOff system. Gave each one of those. That's just something I threw together to see if that's what you wanted to see, or you want to see something different per month, what our activities are and what our work orders are doing.
What does the archive mean? Is it just something that's held in there, it's just gonna be done later, or is it just archived for
No.
a long time?
It's been completed and is is done. It's completed and we're not looking at it anymore.
So would that then need to go into the complete status then?
It has been completed. So after it's completed, then we archive that work order.
Because you'll have an open and archived and completed, it's listed here.
Yeah.
So the
Archive just basically means completed.
Yeah, it's done for that time. As we do multiple, like if we have one fixed meter and then we archive it at your house. And then 6 months later, we have to go back and fix the meter again and complete the work we archive it. We actually go back through the history of each place or each asset and look at the history of it and see how many times we've done stuff in the past. The roll-offs, one of the things we're doing is we're not archiving them as we complete them. So if we pick up a roll-off or deliver a roll-off, then we say we completed that. It goes into follow-up. So when we go back to pick it up and dump it, either return it or remove it, then it'll be archived at that point. Once we're done with that certain thing.
Is this something that you're doing with the asset management software?
Yeah.
Awesome.
February's and March's didn't look very good. We were still practicing a lot.
No, this is useful, Greg. Thank you.
That won't cause you to change these other little reports together.
That's be more paper for you.
These are my favorite ones. I like these reports.
Other than that, if anybody has any questions.
Have you spoken with Zany Rich about senior and family?
Yes, I messaged her, emailed her last Friday. They said they're coming. They didn't say when.
I mean, it's just more of a comment. I'm excited that you're starting to fill up Cell B at the lagoon.
Yes, we
It's
are.
been a long time coming.
Any other questions for Greg? Going on to number 4, it does say Sergeant Derek Thompson, but we do have Chief Bowles on the phone. So I'm handing it to you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'll give you the dispatch numbers for the month. The Sheriff's Department had 286 calls. Newcastle PD had 428. Upton PD had 111. Newcastle Ambulance had 69. Upton Ambulance had 11. The Newcastle Fire Department had 11. Upton Fire did not have any. And Weston County Fire had 44. I think we covered most of the stuff that I was going to talk about, so I think I'm good.
Okay. Any questions for the chief? Okay, you're free to go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great evening.
You too, thank you. Is there any standing committee reports? Any other business?
So,
I have something here.
yeah, Greg, thank you for getting the public works for getting that box next to the new dispatch, or the new PD
Oh,
building.
no
Ready?
problem.
Appreciate
That
it.
statue is not being thrown away, it's being stored until.
Yeah, what was that thing?
Just a decorative statue. Decorative artwork.
Looked like kryptonite in a triangle. Keep Superman away.
I just had a thing, how far can we go? Is our little girl getting citations still? Or if?
This
if
CSO?
she- Yeah,
I don't know, the chief.
would go, she's not there. I just think that might help the cleanup thing, if she could give some, and we need to follow through with that.
Send an email.
I believe she brought some into the office today.
What happens when she does that?
When she does.
I mean, she writes a citation and then what happens?
Well, they have to pay it, and then
They do?
yeah, and then I think the fine goes up the next month.
Okay,
Right.
okay. I
Probably
wasn't,
depending on what it's for. Like, I believe she brought something in today that he had commented on, was for a vehicle that wasn't licensed on
Okay.
city street.
so we are,
So there's a fine if it doesn't get paid for that type of thing. It should have to appear before the judge.
okay.
All right, any other? We don't have an executive session right now. Claims against the city dated May 1st, 2023.
Make a motion when we pay the claims against the city.
Good man. I second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I beat me to it.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Okay, so
Adjourned at 8:02.
100% of the motion.
No.